Hey, Mick, I got something really big for you.
What's the name?
Louis Roulet.
Louis Roulet?
This whole thing is a setup. I made a mistake with that woman, and she was setting me up.
Down.
I need $100,000 up front. I'm working on $550 an hour. I take it none of that's a problem?
No, I just got lucky.
The charges against my son are ridiculous. So is that woman.
Regina Campo, part-time actress, part-time office temp.
And hoping to retire after suing my client.
According to the victim, she was at home alone when the suspect forced her down.
You didn't strike Miss Campo with your left fist.
No.
Threatened to kill her.
No, I am not that guy.
I don't know, Mick. This kid feels wrong to me.
Are you sure there's not anything that you're not telling me?
You know, I don't think I ever would have picked Matthew McConaughey to play Abraham Lincoln. I just,
Come on, you saw him in Amistad. He can wear mutton chops.
I'd free the slaves, but I'm just going to kick back and get high.
I mean, it is a Hollywood movie, so yeah, a good-looking Lincoln, yeah, I could buy that. Come on.
Sure.
with a great set of abs, yeah, chopping wood, which you're going to see that scene definitely. It's part of the contract. When you're working with Matthew McConaughey.
You're describing Matthew McConaughey a little too lovingly.
I'm doing that for the ladies, all right? I got to give them a little something.
You know what? Wait, am I wrong? Because I'm trying to think back. This is like one of the movies where he doesn't take his shirt off, right?
You know what? You're absolutely right. I was actually kind of just thinking after the movie, I was like, wow, this is the first movie I've ever seen Matthew McConaughey in that he didn't take off his damn shirt.
I was going to say one of.
Yeah.
Maybe he officially passed the torch to Ryan Reynolds. Like, all right, man, you're the no shirt guy from now on.
It's like you're finally taking your career seriously now.
Well, of course, this made it now no longer eligible for an MTV Movie Award because of that. But, as sad as that is,
the sacrifices you make to further your acting career.
You do. But you know what? This has nothing to do with Abraham Lincoln. In fact, this movie, The Lincoln Lawyer, which is a legal thriller based on the first book of a whole series of books by a popular writer named Michael Connelly. You might have seen him playing poker with Castle on the TV series.
Not me. Yeah. All right. If you say so, boss.
You might be one of the three people who saw that.
Okay, I might have seen him doing that.
Okay, but there's two more people like you, and hopefully one of them will listen to this review.
Well, oddly, he's actually a spin-off character from another series of books by the same guy that's much more popular. That had a movie, I think, Blood Work with Clint Eastwood. It was based on one of those.
Wait, okay, good.
At least, as far as I know, that was one of the, I know that movie was based on one of this guy's books. I think it was one of that other characters.
Well, I know these guys who write the legal thrillers. They write tons of them. They often have recurring characters.
You got to get paid, son.
Exactly. Hey, it's all about franchise.
Yeah. And here, Matthew McConaughey is playing basically the half-brother of his main character from those other books, who is a kind of, he's shady but not despicable lawyer.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
He's absolutely despicable.
Okay.
He's a piece of shit as lawyers go. Like he's the kind of guy who gives lawyers especially defense lawyers a bad name. Absolutely representing guilty people just because he knows he can bilk them for as much money as he can and doing whatever he can to get them off. The other people don't like him. So that's why it's odd when later he's presented as like, no, he's actually got a heart of gold.
Well, the thing is that he may be a piece of shit lawyer, but this movie presents him as not only a piece of shit lawyer, but the coolest motherfucking lawyer you could ever have on your team. Just because he's so confident, he already knows exactly. Like he can just. It seems like when he's told a case, he already has it figured out. He already needs to know what he needs to do. He already knows who the contacts he needs to get a hold of to make this case just winnable.
Well, yeah, he's fucking gangsta. Let's face it.
Despicable
he may be in a real world way, but you can't not want to party with this guy. A lot of that is due to Matthew McConaughey's portrayal of him, where it's just like, wow, this guy seems really down to earth. The truth is, like, well, he's going like, yeah, see, I just helped you out. He's collecting an extra $1,000 on the side for what you think was helping you out.
Oh, and he stuck you with a tab.
Yeah, he absolutely did for absolutely everything.
Yeah, you said it'd be fun to party with him, man. You party with this guy, you would have the time of your life. You'd be hopping on planes, snort coke, just doing everything.
Yeah. Hope you love bongo music.
And then the next day, you get a bill for $16,000.
Your credit card statement. Like, I don't even get my credit card.
Had those
expenses.
Yeah, it'd be like half those people there I didn't even know.
But I think that's one of the cool things about it is it very much is Matthew McConaughey just being a badass lawyer. That's it. I mean, just watching him, and I think that's the kind of entertaining thing about this movie is that he just seems so fucking. He's not sweating for anything. He's just fucking going through the motions. Like, all right, well, what's the next case?
Well, because that's who he is. He's just that guy. He is, in some ways, he's appropriately cast because of Matthew McConaughey.
Sure.
Like, whatever, man. Sure, it'd be cooler if you did. I mean, except here he's like super, super smart. Is he shady as hell? Yeah, but he's also brilliant, and you kind of admire him a bit for the stuff he's getting away with. The way you admit con men in con men movies. You're like, you go, wow, that was a pretty clever little con you got going on there. I got to admit it. You are a dick, true. But what I have to hand it to you, I didn't see that coming.
You know what? He just struck me. He's one of those guys. He's completely entertaining as long as you don't have to interact with him.
As long as, exactly.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we all want to bang him or something at this point.
I think just you with the whole glistening ass.
Yeah, I just soon stay away from it. But
well, here he is. Found he gets turned on to a case by a bail bondsman.
Yeah, played by John Leguizamo.
Yeah, who is basically just being John Leguizamo.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
who is of Louis Roulet, played by Ryan Felipe, who is a spoiled rich boy who basically is accused of rape and physical
battering.
abuse of battering this woman just near to death before she managed to knock him out. And get some neighbors to hold him down until the police came. Now, his claim of the story is that that's not what happened at all. She dropped his phone number on him in a bar. He went to her place. He had barely come into the door. Then he got hit by something from behind and woke up with these dudes on top of him and her all beaten, screaming rape. And the assumption is that this woman just wants to get his family's money, wants to have a civil suit after he's found guilty for the legal case and just sue his family for millions.
I have that problem every weekend. It's not easy being cheesy.
You mean not easy being sleazy?
No, yeah, sorry.
I get
him confused.
You're like, I still got copies of Windows 5.
You knocked me out, just rolled all over me.
That's why I'm such an easy target.
Now, the thing is that things are never as easy as they seem, or it would just be an episode of Law and Order. And at first it kind of seems that way. Like, oh, this is kind of a neat new Law and Order spinoff show with a cool character. But as things progress, things get really fucking dark as we discover that Louis Roulet, Ryan Felipe, is not all he seems to be, that his story is not on the up and up, and in fact that maybe this whole thing is a complete diversion, a con in and of itself, where the lead character, Matthew McConaughey, Mickey Haller, is forced to, because of client-attorney privilege, find a pretty clever con himself to get around all of that and win.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think... I don't think, I think one of the flaws of the movie is that there's no time that you believe Ryan Felipe's story.
Well, because if
Ryan Felipe.
Yeah, if he was right, there would be no movie. It would just be...
Well, not just that. I mean, he has one scene to be convincing in. It's like, sort of, but I don't know. There's too many holes. Like, I just thought, when he told his side of the story, I'm like, there's too many holes in that to believe it. But Matthew McConaughey he's that kind of lawyer. It's like, I don't want to hear whether you're guilty or not. I'm just here to defend you. You just give me the facts, and I'm going to go for it.
That's the job of a defense attorney.
Yeah. Don't admit shit to me. I don't want to hear it.
Rich kid, spoiled, never heard the word no.
Yeah, but the damn thing is, the way he tells the story, Frank, it's just quirky enough to be true.
I don't know, Mick, this kid feels wrong to me. Are you starting to think Lewis is innocent?
Just mine. Besides, you know what my father always said about an innocent client?
No, I've never heard this.
So there's no client as scary as an innocent man.
That's right. Because if you screw up and he goes to prison, you're never going to be able to live with yourself. So there's only one verdict you can put on the board, baby, and that's an NG.
Frank, if you let a man drive home in this condition, I think that I can charge you both.
Which was interesting because when they do play that up as far as like, tell me your side of the story, and he actually tells it, for a second I was like, this guy is guilty. And then I was thinking, well, wait, maybe he's not. And I like that he did kind of fuck with me in a way, just watching it. But when the real story starts to take place, then you're just like, oh shit, okay, this is turning into something else that I'm enjoying a lot more than that episode of Matlock or whatever. And just like, but I'm just like, okay, now you're getting me interested only because you have this character that is just like, he's just ruthless. He seems ruthless, and he just doesn't give a shit.
And that's just that's the key to this film. It really is, because like if you were to sit here and watch the first half of this film and go, whatever, it's just another pretty by the books legal thriller. Just I could watch this on television any day of the week and tune out. You'd be missing out, because honestly, the second half of this film takes it in, well, not a completely different direction, one that certainly adds a lot more oomph and interest and darkness to it.
It does.
But I think the real core to why this deserved to be a movie rather than just a made-for-the-TV movie of the week is the character himself, and the fact that you're right, Leon. He is maybe not a complete scumbag, but he is kind of a scumbag lawyer.
He's quite a bit.
It's about his starting to understand what his place is in the world, what the definition of what his job is, how like the prosecutors use dirty tricks themselves,
Sure.
so it's like he used dirty tricks, so do they, but who is more justified really, because they use dirty tricks and get innocent guys in jail. He used dirty tricks and gets guilty guys out of jail. Apparently the problem is just the justice system. And just it's a moral story in that sense, and it doesn't bang you over the head with it. It's watching this guy start to sort of figure out what's actually important to him in his life, like his ex-wife Marissa Tomei, who is as sexy as ever,
fucking
here.
bangable as ever. I mean, still, I'm just like, wow, man. Can we just get her naked again? Can she play a stripper again, please, sometime soon?
She had to mix it up by not getting naked this time.
I know,
which was the only bad thing about this film.
Like, okay, so no one's taking their shirt off in this film?
Not even Matthew? Damn.
Just somebody. And then you got his best friend, William H. Macy, who plays a hippie, apparently.
with Patrick Swayze's haircut.
The thing is, William H. Macy has this new show on Showtime where he plays a character like, I think he looks exactly like that character. It's almost like he only agreed to do it because he wouldn't have to change his hair or makeup or anything.
He looks like Yoda with a Patrick Swayze wig.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it looks like. I was like, who is this guy? Oh my god, that's William H. Macy. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Really surprising turn of role for him, especially you'd think, oh, well, everybody wants to get in on a new franchise, or not. But Macy is really good as like his partner who investigates stuff for him. I guess a lot of the appeal of this is, like I said, I think the core of the appeal is Matthew McConaughey and the way he plays the character and the way the story ends up making him just so much more of an interesting person as it goes along. So much so, I would in fact be interested in seeing a sequel, of which there's I think 4 or 5 books in the series, to see what happens. Is this kind of the theme of the series, that it's like, while there's a mystery, what it's really about is like what's wrong with the justice system, what's wrong with this guy inside as a typical, hey man, I just take what I can get guy, turning into maybe that's not really fair to other people.
Which is cool, because there is a moment where you're thinking, man, maybe this guy is just a sleazy lawyer, he doesn't care, so what's really going to get me invested in his character at all? And I have to admit, there's a really great scene with him and the Streets of Fire.
I was like, where'd they dig Michael Perry up from?
They literally had to dig him up.
I was going to say he was working at a gas station, but there's no full service gas stations anymore.
So he just walk off that VHS cover box of Streets of Fire. But there's a great scene where they're talking about the justice system and how Matthew McConaughey's character is like, look, man, this is your justice system getting fucking greedy, and I don't call that justice. And I was like, wow, that's a nice way of sticking it to him. But it did make you see his point of view of where he comes at, as far as what his job is. So at that point, it's like, okay, this guy has somewhat of a conscience, even though he still needs to do his job, and regardless of what he's there to win. That's his motivation.
And it's regardless of anything else, or all his problems. You I keep pounding in is that you like him because he is on the surface very likable. People like him. Like he's being driven around by I'm sorry, I forget the actor's name.
I thought was Bobby Brown.
I thought it was Bobby Brown too. I was like, wow, Bobby Brown.
Well, he's being driven around by this guy who is in the book, he's a guy who's paying off his debt as a lawyer for his lawyer to drive him around. But here it was apparently he had like his license taken away at some point, and so the guy was he was paying him to drive.
Chauffeur,
but now it's like well, I don't need you to do that anymore. But sure is sweet having a chauffeur, and it's a Lincoln Continental, so it's the Lincoln lawyer because he works out of the back of his car.
Don't be confused, because Abraham Lincoln was a lawyer, which I suppose that's why they throw it in.
And
there.
in fact, drove around in a Continental. So.
by a black guy.
That's back when he was a pimp.
Yeah, and it's the first movie where I was like, wow, I don't really feel so offended that this black guy is driving around a white guy. I don't feel bad about that. They seem like they're buddies.
They're
like
buddies,
yeah. I'm like waiting for them to like pull the whole Kato Green Hornet thing.
He's a styling motherfucker. He's friends with like a friendly biker gang that also commits illegal actions, but still,
right.
they use that to such great extent to show this guy is actually pretty hip. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's totally taking advantage of these guys, and they love him for it, and they deserve to be taken advantage of.
He is the Ferris Bueller of lawyers out there.
He totally is.
He is friends with everyone and anyone. Yeah.
It's hard. It really is hard not to like him, and so much of that is due to Matthew McConaughey's just natural charisma, that sort of thing he's got going. Bryan Cranston has a neat little role in here. Too small. Come on, Bryan Cranston, why aren't you a A-list star by now?
Well, maybe he squoze it in between times of shooting Breaking Bad.
Squoze it in?
Is that not a word?
I don't think it is.
Is it squeezed?
Squeezed it. I think that's you squozed it in.
Sounds like a Norwegian metal band.
I do that with grapes when I'm washing my hair.
Be squozed with umlaut.
No, you're right. I was actually, when I saw him pop up, I'm like, okay, now this guy has to have a big juicy role, but no,
it's tiny.
Yeah,
as well as like
tiny.
Josh Lucas as the prosecution attorney who basically spends the whole movie glaring at Matthew McConaughey going, I was supposed to have your career.
Exactly.
I was going to say, I felt like, wow, they put him and Josh Lucas against each other just to challenge the audience to tell which one was which.
I felt bad for that guy because I was like, wow, looking at Josh Lucas and being upset at Josh Lucas for being in that new movie.
Yes, right. You got mad at Bradley Cooper because he was in Stealth, but it was really Josh Lucas. Then Josh Lucas pops up in the very next movie that you saw.
Exactly, and I was like, that fucking asshole. And then I look at the guy in this movie. I'm just like, oh man, that sucks, dude.
If Bradley Cooper had been in this too, would that make it a Pratt trick? I'm just
wow,
sorry.
Wow, I just want to bang my head up against that
I
doorknob right now.
I had to go to British slang for that fun.
Jesus Christ.
You need to go to jail.
I'll just call Matthew
The British jail.
Yeah, British jail.
Shit, I don't want to go to British
jail. Do they still have dungeons?
where Mel Gibson's puppet can cuss at you all day.
As long as John Rubio is in the warden, you'll be fine. But you know what? I don't think The Lincoln Lawyer is a great film. I think it's a good film, and it's a good start to a series of films. Unlike most legal thrillers, where it's really just kind of about a convoluted plot and that's about it. Here, this is really about the main character. It's totally character.
Okay, I gotta say, I'm glad to hear you say that, because listening to you guys, I'm like, man, they love this movie way more than me. I mean, I was just kind of like, you guys are right about how much more character is, and Matthew McConaughey's character, he is one that, I don't know. You say he's hard not to like, and I can see all the things to like about him, because he's slick and he's funny and he's smart, and the smart thing is always appealing. But at the same time, I just could not lose the fact that, like, wow, this guy to me is a piece of shit. Yeah. Just what he does and the bravado in which he does it. It's horrible. And you're right. He's a product of the system. He just works it for what it is. You actually make a very, you should be a lawyer, Cyrus, because you make a convincing argument for him. So I'm willing to forgive a lot of that. But what it does come down to is, like, there is that point where he makes that switch over. And it's a good character arc, and just so much of me goes like, they just want to make him likable for the audience. It's not because he's a likable guy, or should be. But ultimately, it's a legal thriller, and watching this, even though this is one of the best I've seen, they all fall into certain tropes and cliches that just, I guess, like, man, even a good one doesn't escape it. I was just like, you know what? I'm getting the same feeling I got watching The Pelican Brief. Yeah. As charismatic as Denzel is, there's a lot of running around back and forth. There's the whole, I have the client who tells me they're not guilty. The audience can tell, there's something up.
There's lengthy courtroom scenes.
Yeah, there's lengthy courtroom scenes.
Inevitable nth hour twist.
And that point where Ryan Phillippe's character just so blatantly comes out and goes like, yeah, I did it, but I got you in a hook where you can't say nothing. Nah.
The spoilers.
Oh,
no. That's not spoiler.
I know. I take any opportunity.
No,
come on.
It's close.
That happens early in the movie.
But you know what? I tell you what. That's, where this kind of jumped from just being a kind of a typical lawyer film at that moment where the two are at odds with each other, where they have to work with each other regardless, because the guy's like, fuck you. I'm playing this game. This is how we play by my rules. Where Matthew McConaughey's game is like, oh, you're going to try to fuck me, even though I'm the one who does the fucking around here. Yeah, it's like, you don't fuck me, I fuck you. I'm the fucker.
That was very interesting.
That was the best. That was the best part of. That was like the meat of the film, which really locked me in. Where I'm just like, yes, I want to see these two assholes go at each other,
right?
And see how it comes out.
The only thing that makes an asshole salvageable in a film where he's clearly an asshole is if you introduce a much bigger asshole.
Exactly. It's true.
And they're smart that they do that. But like I said, it really means a lot that it is about a personal growth story for him. And just the beginnings of a taste of what morality is actually about, like normal human morality, that he gets a taste of his own medicine in a lot of different ways in here, and comes out by the end on the other side better for it, not cured as a douchebag, but certainly maybe I've been kind of not being a terribly nice guy in my life. Maybe there's something more to the justice system than just making money, and I love that. I love that aspect of it. That's the best quality to this film, is that I hate to. Yeah, me pounding the moral gavel, but you know what? in a legal thriller. But you know what? I did really love that, and I thought Matthew McConaughey pulled it off well. And I thought that, once it gets to the direct, how is he going to turn all this around, circumvent the law, not lose his legal career, and fuck this guy in the ass? It turned into a pretty damn good movie. But that being said, there's a lot of, as you said, genre shit to sit through. We've seen a billion times before. I felt like almost first-time director Brad Furman, I think he's pretty much just before to direct a DVD movie, doesn't really do anything remarkable with the material we haven't seen before, and I think we end up with a matinee picture.
Okay, that's where I came on it. I mean, it's like, man, Matthew McConaughey is awesome, and you know what? We give him a lot of shit, but I think I've liked the last 3 out of his last 4 movies. I mean, that Fool's Gold was, wow, that was so damn awful.
Wow.
But I think the other movies he made, but here, this is like a crowning achievement for him. He does carry this movie, and you like him, and he's complex character, and the soundtrack this movie was amazing. The whole time I was like, God damn, every song, man. It felt like a exploitation movie.
It really did. It really did play it, and it catered well to what was going on screen.
Yeah,
it just wasn't thrown in there. Yeah.
Gave it a great feel. And it's just one of those where there's so many things to like about it. I know it's a crowd pleasing movie, but again, it goes through a lot of the tropes. So many that I've seen, and I've read a bunch of the books, these kind of books. And just like every time, they get me pretty hooked. But then by the last part of him, I'm like, wow, this got a lot more convoluted than it needed to be. It ends in a shootout. And then I'm just kind of like, I wish they didn't all do this. Now, I will say, the way he decides to solve this, every part of his solution for it, I gave a big cheer for.
It was elegant.
Yeah. It was elegant up until it wasn't, and his non-elegant way of a final solution, I was like, right on, dude. That's something more people should.
I'll get on.
Killed all the Jews. I'm not sure that would have helped.
Wait a minute, what?
Hey, man,
come on. What?
The final solution.
But it is a matinee film for me. Maybe even a high matinee. But it's one where if I paid matinee price, I'd come and go like, yeah, that was all right.
Okay.
I dug that.
I'll get on a geeky level, because as far as the way Matthew McConaughey's, all I thought was like, how can I amp this up for my entertainment? I was like, it's like Lex Luthor trying to outsmart, the Joker. I was like, let's see how this plays out. This is awesome. This is interesting. But no, I love movies where fuckers try to outfuck each other, and God knows I'm all about fucking. So I mean, this movie though, it really was. That was like the one great thing about it. But I mean, like you guys said, I have no reason to repeat it. Everything else you guys touched on, you're absolutely right. It does fall into the clichéness of these type of films. But I'm going to give it a good matinee as far as it's very entertaining matinee.
So is it a high matinee?
No, I don't do that. It's just a matinee. No, it's a matinee.
You're creating yet another split.
A good high matinee, a good low matinee.
I'll keep Spill's 20-tier system of rating.
I'll keep my shit real. It is a matinee, okay? That's all I'll give you. Yeah, it really is.
Well, let's just say that if I was going to court for something, I would pick this guy to represent me. Sure I would. I would just make sure my parents were footing the bill.
Yeah, I was going to say. Like, okay, if you're willing to lose your house and everything.
Hey, he'll win. It's just going to cost you. Welcome to the wonderful world of legal representation in America.
I'll just buy a plane ticket.
I got it. There were others. Other girls he killed. The injuries to the right side of their face, it's all too similar.
Her daughter, Haley, she's got soccer practice tomorrow, right?
You think you're the first client ever threatened me or my family?